Hill Street Blues won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about
Oh, Heavenly Dog.
Ooh, baby, couldn't have done worse thing to me. They could have done to me. Ooh, ooh, baby.
You know, the funny thing is, I don't think anybody's going to know this song. That was Jim covering Paul McCartney and Wings, the amazing theme song from Oh, Heavenly Dog.
Yeah, you know, what was so funny was, I'm like, we're talking about the soundtrack, and as a joke, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's Paul McCartney and Wings.
Yeah, because it kind of sounds like them, but it wouldn't be surprised if it was like a knockoff
It
band.
sounded like a knockoff, because
Yeah.
it sounded...
It doesn't sound like Paul McCartney at all.
No, but I love Wings.
Oh, Wings, I have a soft spot for Wings. Guilty pleasure, for sure.
Look, what used to be called soft rock, and is now, for some bizarre reason, called yacht rock.
Yeah. Or yeah, like the AM radio rock, like the
I love it. I love it.
adult contemporary.
Yeah, like,
I love it as well. It's my bread and butter.
Like,
We're so Gen X. It's sad.
do you like pina colada?
Oh yeah, the
And getting caught in the rain.
I don't remember who does that.
If you like making love at midnight.
Yeah, that guy. He was a one-hit wonder. But yes, all of those, like Summer Breeze,
Yeah.
like
Summer Breeze.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, like all that stuff.
Oh, no, they're more like Southern Fried Rock.
Really?
Yeah.
I disagree.
CSNY? Yeah.
I disagree.
Well,
I think Neil Young is more Southern Fried Rock, but Crosby, Stills, and Nash, definitely not.
all right. Well, we'll have to let the audience decide.
Yeah. Anyway, we're here to talk about a dog.
Yeah, because welcome to Dog Days of
It's
Summer.
Dog Days of Summer, August, another Dog Days of Summer.
Part 2.
We had to scratch and find four dog movies to
Yes.
cover because August is long and hot. This one is a little more. They all have like cop themes or like
True.
investigation
Crimey.
themes, crime themes. Because when things get hot, people go crazy and commit crimes.
Yeah, you need a dog.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this month. I have not seen... the only movie I've seen a lot of is Turner and Hooch.
Yeah.
I've not seen K-9 in a long time.
Same.
And I don't think I've ever seen Top Dog
I don't either.
because who would ever watch Top Dog? But we're going to cover it anyway because we love Chuck Norris.
Well, who would cover Oh Heavenly Dog? And I've realized that I never saw this. So this one slipped through the cracks for
That's
me.
crazy. That's really crazy.
Which is super crazy because
because you love Benji.
loved.
You love Chevy Chase.
Loved.
What happened?
I heard how horrible it was. And I think what happened was it came and went in the theaters pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And then it was on like Showtime or one of the cable companies
Yeah,
that we didn't have.
Oh, okay,
I don't think we had
okay.
cable at that point.
Yeah.
Or the movie
One of the
channels.
pay channels, yeah.
So I missed that
Like
rotation.
it wasn't.
And then yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because it did not do terribly well. It was not a great movie. Very widely considered to be the worst of all the Benji movies.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I didn't either.
You know, I also think that movies have gotten a lot worse. So
Yeah.
some things
Yeah.
over time become less bad.
Yes. I actually, surprisingly, will be siding with Chevy Chase on this one and his
Yeah.
feelings about the movie because, and we'll get into it, but I feel like this movie could have been way better.
Way funnier,
Way
yeah.
funnier, yeah.
Again, much like last month with Howard T. Duck and Hudson Hawk, I don't think it knew what it really was. I don't think camp...
Yeah. I think he second-guessed himself too
Yeah.
much.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's the first adult Benji movie, but, you know, it's just, aside from a few gay jokes and...
Well, I mean, it does have, more adult implied jokes. I mean,
Sure.
I mean, beyond the gay jokes and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just that I think that he got cold feet and was like, because I'm guessing that a lot of the dog dialogue was probably way racier.
Sure.
And then it was kind of like, wait a minute, this is a dog going after a woman might be a little too much.
Well, yeah, and then I think
yeah.
and then it was just basically, I made the comment, it was like watching Chevy Chase do a novel on tape as
Yeah.
we watched something kind of unrelated.
Yeah, it was weird. Most of his dialogue was just so out of nowhere.
Here, I'm going to go down here, and
Yeah.
I'm walking.
Or I'm just going to not talk for 10 minutes while the dog
Exactly.
walks around.
Hey there, fellow.
Yeah, but it's really sad because the opening parts with Chevy Chase, like, he was so charming,
Oh, yeah.
and he is so good.
So good at physical comedy.
And especially the very beginning with I think it was Freddie, the gay guy who picks him up.
Yeah, and the little
or
Minnie Cooper.
implied gay guy or whatever.
It's pretty much
yeah.
bashed into your face.
And bashed into him, as he said when he died. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he did. He probably had a car accident, I guess.
He claimed that the car got hit by another larger truck that jammed it into the alleyway as hard as possible. Yeah.
Interesting, Freddie.
Joe Camp, you're funny.
Freddie, I know you. Freddie, what are you doing? It's just going for the stick shift.
Yeah.
I'm like, wiener jokes.
Yeah. But there was something there that could have been really good.
Definitely.
And it's not bad. I mean, by any means. It's still an entertaining movie.
I made a movie in college called Rex the Dog.
Oh, yeah?
That was all shot from the dog's point of view.
Oh, nice.
And I think I might have been the first person to do that.
Oh.
I don't know, maybe not. But
Probably not, but
it was.
possibly.
But like the entire thing was shot from a dog's point
Right.
of view. It was all dog POV. And it was.
Did you, strap a Super 8 to him and then...
There was no real dog.
Oh.
It was just the camera was a dog.
Wow.
And then I did dog noises. But what was really funny about it, sorry about the speed bump, but what was funny, it was a Super 8. It was like one of my first,
Yeah.
And you didn't have mag stock, you didn't have a dialogue track,
Right,
so you had
right.
to, like on a cassette tape,
Yeah.
put your soundtrack.
Right.
And so we're supposed to do this, I did dialogue. And if it didn't match up perfectly, it
Right.
would have been a disaster. And then somehow, miraculously,
it
it was
worked.
perfect.
Nice,
And it was
nice,
really great. It was
nice.
really fun. But yeah, I mean, I did that because I love Benji and I love dog movies and I love dogs.
Look, listen to our previous Benji movie, or Benji movie,
Show.
Benji show. Listen to Benji because it is a really fun, entertaining movie.
Yes.
And it made a ton of money.
Yes.
It was the highest grossing, or I should say most profitable indie movie that Joe Camp did in a long time. He was like, nobody wants to make this, so I'm just going to do it, and it made a ton of money.
It was great. And the Benji, what was the first one? Willie, what was the first?
Higgins.
Higgins
was the first dog.
Higgy baby.
Higgy baby. Yeah.
Magnum. Oh my God. Super talented.
Benji is crazy
The
good.
stuff they had the dog doing is
I didn't know you could train dogs to do that.
look, back then telephones were rotary dials.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took you you had to really plan out your day because it would take you about an hour and a half to dial
Just
the
to
numbers.
dial, yeah. God forbid you mess up on the 6th digit.
Yes. And you're always like, no zeros, no nines, no
It was
eights.
so stressful.
It was very stressful. But Benji could used a pencil and was dialing numbers. I mean,
Did a great, crazy job. Picked up the phone and then hung up the phone. Like, that is impressive.
Very impressive. And it's cute. It's fun. It's fun to see the dog. It's just kind of weird. Again, it kind of falls in that category of Bugsy Malone.
Yeah,
or
kind of just a weird movie.
something you need to see because it's so weird, not necessarily because it's a great movie.
Right, yes. Yeah, I agree. It would definitely fall into the month we did of the weird movies. Because it's just odd.
Very odd. But I have to say, I think Jane Seymour was great.
Oh, fantastic.
I thought Omar Sharif was amazing.
Oh my God,
I mean,
so good.
you can't get a bad
He's
performance from Omar
no.
Sharif.
And he plays the bad guy so well.
And a bad guy in a dumb dog movie where, you could just phone it in or make it goofy or...
Oh, same with Jane Seymour. Easily could have just been like, whatever, I'm going to be the eye candy. But she was great.
That's what I really enjoyed about this movie was that the people weren't idiots.
Right.
Jane Seymour knew something was up.
Yeah.
And kind of went with it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like, there's a person in this dog, but knew that something was up.
The dog keeps showing up. What's going on? Yeah.
And Omar Sharif really knew something was up.
Yeah.
He's kind of akin to the villain in Last
Last
Action
Hero. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's
The
smart
Charles
enough.
Dance character.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Smart enough to get what's going on and And it ended up driving him crazy to the point where he confessed at the end.
Yeah, because how do you convince your boss that dog is actually a person?
Yes,
like what do you? It's like I'm going crazy.
But I really liked that part of it because one of my least favorite tropes in film is the willfully stupid people.
Yes, willfully ignorant. I can't stand it.
No.
It is my least favorite trope.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you got every bit of evidence in your face, and you're like, no, I don't think so.
That all goes back to lazy writing.
Yeah.
And Joe Camp is not a bad writer. I mean, he writes for dogs, but he does it well,
Yes, very sweet, simple stories.
Yeah.
This was a swing and a miss for him, but it was a bold swing, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think you're right because you mentioned that he got probably cold feet with the dialogue with Chevy, and I think you're absolutely right with that. I think, I don't think he was ready to kind of move into quote quotes adult.
Yeah, not with the Benji franchise.
Yeah.
Like he had made a couple other movies that were technically more adult movies.
Yeah.
I mean, they were comedies not starring animals,
right?
So I guess that's more adult.
Yes.
But he. Well, technically one of them did have animals. Anyway. Humps. There you go. But I think that he got cold feet thinking, well, what if everybody just rejects this? Because Benji was huge.
Yeah.
And For the Love of Benji was huge.
For the Love of Benji.
Yeah, and it's like he just got cold feet, and it was, and it sucks because it could have been a much better movie.
It had all the ingredients to be a huge hit.
Yeah.
But for some reason,
it
got a little messed up in the baking process. Well, let's get started.
All right, let's get into it. Take yourself back to 1980.
Ooh.
June 1st, the first 24-hour news channel, cable news network, is launched.
Yeah, thank you, CNN.
CNN has ruined the country.
What's that guy who was married to Jane Fonda?
Ted Turner. Yeah.
I think my dad was the one that really started, because he started the first all-news station.
AM radio, but
10 wins. But there was news.
So I can blame you. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, we'll blame my dead father.
Yeah. Technically, I can't blame Ted Turner either because it was technically the rejection of the Fairness Doctrine by Ronald Reagan in 1987.
Yeah.
June 23rd to September 6th, the 1980 United States heat wave claims 1,700 lives.
I remember that, man.
I was 2 years old, so I don't remember that. But man, that's a lot of people that died from being hot.
Yeah, it was like really hot where I was too. It wasn't like dead people hot. Because I think that was mostly the Midwest, right?
It was Midwest. I think some Texas. It was really bad in that strip, like Tornado Alley. Like it was bad there. Yeah. But nasty, and it's funny because we get heat waves now, but most of the times we don't get that kind of death toll.
Well, we're used to it now because of global warming.
Yeah,
I mean
everyone's adapted.
It's a rigor. It's not it's not some crazy phenomenon like it was in the 1980s.
That's true. July 9th, Pope John Paul II visits Brazil. 7 people are crushed to death in a crowd waiting to see him at afternoon mass at the stadium in Fortaleza.
Take that, Jesus.
You lose, Jesus.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, especially when you're guys. My mother loved Pope John Paul II. Like, she was Catholic.
Sure.
Or she is Catholic.
She is.
And she loved him, thought he was fantastic. But I cannot imagine a worse way to go than being like, I'm about to see the man closest to God, and then you literally see God.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's just awful.
It kind of torches those God's plan people.
Yeah.
What's the plan about that?
Yeah, exactly. July 11th, Oh Heavenly Dog is released in theaters.
Oh, baby.
Do that
worst
to me.
thing to me. Put an aura right through me.
So, Oh Heavenly Dog comes from writer and director Joe Camp. Before entering the film world, Camp worked as an amateur magician, as a field advertising crew member for Procter & Gamble, and as an advertising assistant for MGM.
Nice. Amateur magician. It was probably the guy that everybody was staying away from at parties.
Joe Camp created the hit movie series Benji. Camp was tired of family movies being the stereotypical G-rated fare, which turned off most people.
He was right about that.
Again, in our Benji episode, we talk about this. I don't see how the movie Benji is any better than any of the G-rated fare he was talking about.
Because it wasn't...
I mean, it had a plot.
It wasn't
and, had a story.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of the G stuff was just super fluff,
Yeah.
and it was like super Pollyanna.
Like the Teletubbies were 20 years ago, where it's just weirdness. You're like, okay.
No, yeah, I mean, the Teletubbies is at least kind of interesting because there's something
Is
going
it?
on there.
Is it?
Yeah, there's a big baby son. And
I
then
guess if you're high enough,
this one's gay, apparently, and the purple one, right?
Carried a purse.
It has the triangle.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of indoctrinating the children. You had like Apple Dumpling Gang, Rides Again.
Okay.
You know, like Don Knotts. Stuff that was fun, but it
Yeah.
wasn't. Benji was more of like this love story of dogs, or, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it had an actual story, and it had like drama in
Yeah.
it. I mean, because he potentially, was getting kidnapped and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, I guess when I think of like kids stuff back then, I think of like Sesame Street,
Right.
And like obviously that's educational. It's not supposed to have a plot and a story and all that.
I think he just wanted something a little bit more fun, not edgy, but something with a little bit more higher stakes, or,
Yeah.
and then also he wanted to tell a story about dogs, which hadn't
Yeah.
really been done except animated,
Yeah, well, and except for like Lassie and stuff like that. But that's not. But again, that wasn't about the dog.
No, it was about Timmy.
Yeah, it's about Timmy and how he couldn't stop falling down the well.
I think he started getting in the well himself because
Yeah.
he liked the attention.
He just really liked Lassie.
It's like, that great story about this
The
dog.
dog
that saved the kid
somebody. Yeah,
out of like a well and then started pushing him in
Yeah.
because he liked the
it was in a
attention.
river. He kept pushing people in. They realized he was doing it. Yeah.
I love dogs.
So Camp said he got the inspiration for Benji while watching Lady and the Tramp with his first wife, Carolyn.
Okay.
He made connections in Hollywood through a college friend, Tom Lester, but numerous film companies did not want to produce the movie.
It was a bit of a risk.
Yeah, he and his co-producer, Ed Vanston, created their own distribution company in order to release the film worldwide.
I also think a lot of people didn't think he could do it.
Oh, no, 100%.
Because thinking, if going to an executive at that point being like, all right, I want to make this live-action film about a dog who goes through these kidnapping and falls in love and blibbity-blop and
Yeah.
bloppity-bloop, and they're like, you're never going to be able to do that.
Yeah, that's not going to sell. What are you talking about? With Camp's marketing and advertising background, he was able to personally develop the strategy to make the film a hit. The first film was released in 1974, making $45 million from a $500,000 budget.
Yeah, it was a fun. Everybody was waiting for it.
Huge.
We were all waiting for it.
The film's theme song by country superstar Charlie Rich was nominated for an Oscar.
Sing it.
I don't remember it.
Neither do I.
I don't remember it. Ooh, baby. Oh, no, it was just that version, but a country. Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. How could you do that to me? Yeah.
Put an R right through me.
After the success of the first Benji movie, Joe Camp would make Hounps in 1976 about the U.S. military introducing camels into service.
And that's how it's spelled, is how.
HAWMPS exclamation point.
Hounps.
Hounps. With a $5.35 million budget, it was more of a gamble and did not quite pay off the way Benji did. That was actually a true story. They actually did try to bring camels into the desert in Arizona. And surprise, camels from the Sahara can't live in the desert in Arizona because they're very different deserts.
Did they die?
They did.
What a horrible story. No wonder it didn't do well. Nobody wants to. With a funny name like Hounps.
Camels actually originated from North America and then migrated across the Bering Strait over to Asia and Africa, and then they changed so much over the thousands of years that they literally can't live in North America anymore.
It's crazy. And then they evolved to be spokespeople for Camel cigarettes.
And then they all got cancer, and then they all died.
And they had penis noses.
And they had weird, giant, floppy penis noses. It was very weird.
Hounps!
But hey, it was for kids!
Yeah, Hounps.
So Joe Camp went back to the well and released a second Benji movie titled For the Love of Benji in 1977.
Now that's the one that I saw in the theater.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't see.
You didn't see the first one?
I don't think so because I was
You were
5.
five.
Maybe
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
My mom might have taken me, but this For the Love of Benji is the one that I remember the most because that was the love story with the little white dog.
Yeah.
That looked like my sister's dog.
Oh,
Blossom.
really?
Yeah.
Nice. The film was a direct sequel to Benji, starring the same kids from the first movie. They were just a little older. This was the first international Benji film, as it was all set in Athens, Greece.
What's with him going places?
I don't know. I don't know why Joe Camp doesn't just shoot. He's from Texas.
Maybe
Like,
he wants to go on vacations.
I guess. I mean, it makes sense. He's got the Michael Caine. Well, I got a trip to Rome.
Exactly.
The sequel is also the first movie to star Ben Jean as Benji, the daughter of the original Benji Higgins.
Oh, Higgins.
Yeah, Higgins.
Oh, Ben Jean.
Ben Jean was so cute. Such a cute dog. For the Love of Benji would be a modest hit, not gaining nearly as much box office as the original film. After making The Double MacGuffin, released in 1979, starring Ernest Borgnine and George Kennedy.
That's a cool cast. I kind of want to see it.
It was super weird. It looks interesting. I need to find it. It's like a spy thriller. About a double MacGuffin. It seems really interesting, but he was branching out and trying not to just do dog movies.
I didn't know that, really.
Didn't know the movie.
I mean, I didn't know that he did other movies.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I didn't know that he did other things other than the Benj.
So he focused on his third Benji movie, Oh Heavenly Dog.
Oh, baby.
So Chevy Chase was cast as Benjamin Browning, a.k.a. Benji. I did the voice of Benji, obviously.
Yes.
He didn't play Benji.
That would have been a great performance if he did.
Although the scenes where like he reappears as like a person.
Yeah.
When the bigger angel, I guess, comes down or whatever, and then he like is just about to go become a dog. Like Chevy Chase is so good.
Yeah.
Like it's like I would totally watch him as a dog.
Chevy Chase. For those people who only know Chevy Chase from being a gross old grump.
Yeah.
And from Community, you don't realize he was like the biggest thing for a few years. Like,
yeah.
He was also shot himself in the foot. He believed his hype and got an ego. And when funny people stop being able to laugh at themselves, career's over.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
and you
end up in things like Vegas Vacation.
Yes, exactly. But back then, man, he could do no wrong, and he was
so charming.
Absolutely charming. And Ryan Reynolds must have spent his entire youth just watching tapes of Chevy Chase to adopt his personality, because he is so exactly Chevy Chase.
Yeah. If you watch early Chevy Chase stuff, even Vacation to a certain degree, but like early Chevy Chase, it's like watching Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
It would be like thinking of Ryan Reynolds now suddenly getting a huge ego and then just like F off to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, dude, what are you doing?
If Ryan Reynolds was a good physical comedian, he would be Chevy Chase. Yeah. He just doesn't have the, and it's not his, I mean, look, Ryan Reynolds is incredibly talented.
Great at what he does. Yeah.
And very charming.
He's very fun to watch.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to the Deadpool 3 movie. But Chevy Chase was a remarkable physical comedian.
Yeah.
It was just so natural to him, the way he could grab for something and, you know.
Yeah.
That was, his charm was his befuddlement almost, you know?
Right.
It was like he was a handsome, charming, confident guy who was like the clumsiest dude in the world. And for some reason, that really endeared him to everyone, because, you know, just a handsome winner, you know, it's like we've all seen that.
It made him more human.
Yes.
Like, it's like, oh my God, he's so handsome and he's charming, but he's kind of a klutz.
But he's a goof.
And he's a goof, and it's fun. And it's like somebody that you want to hang out with because he's fun.
It's just ironic that he didn't really take himself too seriously back then, and he was able to make fun of himself and be the butt of the joke, and also the teller of the joke, which is extremely rare that you're able to do that and still be charming and likable. Right. And then he turned into a guy who couldn't do any laughing.
That you would not want to be around at all.
Exactly. But, you know, I will give him this too. He hurt himself very early on during Saturday Night Live doing Gerald Ford, doing his pratfall. He did these incredible live pratfalls that were more and more elaborate as the show went on because people expected it. And he hurt himself really badly.
Yeah.
And he got into pain pills. And addiction changes you too. So I think, you know, part of his transformation into the ogre that he is, that people say, you know, he's whatever. I think that has to do with it too. You know, it's a bunch of events that happen, but it was deep in him because you know, it's not like Chevy Chase is a little rich boy born with a silver spoon.
He came from money.
Yes,
like he did.
He never struggled.
Yes, no, he didn't. So he was a member of an early underground comedy ensemble called Channel One, which he co-founded in 1967. This led to his first feature, The Groove Tube, which was directed by Ken Shapiro, a member of Channel One.
Very funny. Have you seen it?
No.
It's like Kentucky Fried Movie. It's like a sketch film.
The movie starred Shapiro, Chase, and Richard Belzer and featured sketches from the Channel One live shows. The movie made nearly $10 million from a $200,000 budget.
Yeah.
That is Huge.
Well, people loved those movies. Like we had Kentucky Fried
I
Movie.
love the Kentucky Fried Movie.
Sketch movies were very popular.
In 1975, Chase became one of the founding members of Saturday Night Live and was the first anchor on the Weekend Update segment.
I'm Chevy Chase, and you're not.
Yeah, he was great.
Yes.
And a 1975 New York Magazine cover story which called him
the funniest man in America.
NBC executives referred to Chase as
the first real potential successor to Johnny Carson,
and claimed he would begin guest hosting The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson within 6 months of the article. Okay. Very bold.
Yes, confident.
Chase dismissed rumors that he could be the next Carson by telling New York,
I'd never be tied down for 5 years interviewing TV personalities.
Chase did not appear on the program until May 4th, 1977, when he was promoting a primetime special for NBC. Carson later said of Chase,
he couldn't add little fart after a baked bean dinner.
Which is one of the best lines I've ever heard.
That's wild stuff. That's really wild stuff.
So Chase left SNL after one season. His reasoning is that he wanted to stay with his then girlfriend who hated New York and moved them to Los Angeles.
Again, he had no need for anything. He was
he had money. He could do whatever he wanted.
And this is kind of de rigueur of his career, is him basically being like, I don't want to do it. I don't care.
Yeah. Chase would then appear in Tunnel Vision in 1976, a comedy anthology movie. The movie was written and directed by Neil Israel, who would later direct Bachelor Party and Moving Violations, while having his scripts Police Academy and Real Genius produced.
All right, he was the wacky comedy guy.
Neil Israel is a name I did not know, but he had made 4 of my favorite comedies.
Yes.
Was involved in 4 of my favorite comedies. It was amazing. At some point, we'll have to cover one of those movies.
We'll cover all of them.
Yeah,
definitely Bachelor Party. Well, not probably Moving Violations, but definitely Bachelor Party and
Real Genius is one of my favorite comedies of all time.
And Police Academy will cover.
It's funny, yeah. In 1987, Israel produced 3 O'Clock High, which we also covered.
Yes.
And please listen to that episode. He moved away from writing and directing and just producing.
More importantly, watch 3 O'Clock High.
Yes.
Because it is a great movie.
A fantastic movie. Chase then appeared in Foul Play in 1978, which was a surprise box office hit.
Listen to our Foul Play episode.
It's funny how much we've covered Chevy Chase.
I love Chevy Chase.
I know, I do too. In regards to being cast in Oh Heavenly Dog, Chase said that camp
came to me with a script that I thought was very funny. I said yes, did it, and left after 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's it. Chase was also in Caddyshack in 1980, which was a huge box office hit, and Seems Like Old Times, reuniting with Goldie Hawn, his co-star from Foul Play.
Both amazing friggin' movies.
I still haven't seen Seems Like Old Times.
Goldie Hawn and Chevy Chase were gold together.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted them to be a real couple. That was the kind of thing where it was just people were desperate for them to be actually together.
Right.
That's how much chemistry they had on screen.
Over the course of his career, Chase's hard-to-work-with reputation almost ruined him a number of times. His last big blow was near the end of Community, which he appeared in 83 episodes of, albeit begrudgingly.
Oh, geez, man. I have heard, every time I see Joel McHale on some podcast or clip of him on an interview, he would say that he and Chevy Chase literally came to blows several times, like had physical fights on that set.
Well, him and the guy that created Community,
Dan Harmon,
same thing, at least 2 or 3 times. Like during table reads, Chevy Chase would get so mad. And Dan was just like, shut the F up, dude. What is your problem?
This is what happens, again, when somebody can't laugh at themselves or takes themselves too seriously. He came in there as, well, I'm the only star. Which
I'm
basically
Chevy
he was.
Chase.
And you're not.
And you're not. And you are working with me.
Right. And I think also he didn't like playing the racist. He didn't like being the butt of the jokes. Even though it was the best character he played and the best work he had done.
He was hysterical in the show.
Yeah. It's, again, him not getting it and taking shit too personally.
He most recently can be seen in Zombie Town, based on an R.L. Stein novel.
I think Dan Aykroyd's in that, too.
I think he is. Yeah. He doesn't really do much, and I think a lot of it is because his reputation precedes him.
It's a shame. It's a real shame, because he is so talented.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
It just sucks.
It does.
I hate when people... This is why I hate knowing things about people that I really like, because Chevy Chase was one of my heroes back in the day, one of my favorites. You know, I was a comedy nerd, and watching him on Saturday Night Live, one of my favorite bits he ever did, can't even see his face. He's playing Gerald Ford, and he's like, well, I guess marijuana is going to be legalized, so I should probably figure out how to do this. And it's basically him trying to roll a joint. And it's Chevy Chase. So it's like, it's all going all over the place, and he can't do it. And it was just such great physical comedy, and it was just his hands and his voice. You know? I mean, that's the power of him. And he was just so great.
I loved him in the Vacation movies. I mean, the Vacation movie was the first like real comedy I remember, and it was so good. And the physical comedy, that was so great. And I just recently was watching. I don't remember. I think I was. I remember where I was. Somewhere where I was traveling. But Vegas Vacation was on, and it was the whole bit where he was climbing through like the Hoover Dam, and even Phoebe was like, what in the hell is this? Like, this is awful. Yeah. Like, it was like he was trying so hard to do the physical comedy, and it just didn't work.
No.
It's just sad. It just makes me sad. But you know what? We have his early stuff. We can rewatch that ad nauseum.
We have Oh Heavenly Dog.
Pretend it stopped at a certain point, and then he doesn't exist.
Hell, I still enjoy watching Community. I mean,
Community's great. Community's great. Bright spot. Okay, so Ben Jean played Benji. Ben Jean was the daughter of the original Benji Higgins, who retired after the first movie was released in 1974.
Yeah, he got really heavily into cocaine.
He did.
It was very sad.
You want to talk about somebody shooting themselves in the foot? Woo! Higgins.
In all 4 feet.
Along with starring in the sequel for the Love of Benji in 1977, Ben Jean would complete her trilogy of Benji movies by appearing in the next Benji movie, Benji the Hunted, in 1987.
Benji the Hunted is a remarkable film.
It is. That's the first Benji movie I remember, because it was around the time when I was like 10.
What they got that dog and those little baby mountain lions to do.
Cougar pups. It was crazy, yeah.
It is so impressive. The thing is Joe Camp makes it look so seamless with these animals that you know that it just takes months and months of work to get it to train them to do that.
I mean, in Oh Heavenly Dog, Ben Jean, it is like she's choosing to act. Like you see her acting.
Yes.
It's crazy.
And reacting.
Yeah.
There's some great reaction shots with Chevy Chase saying something, and then Ben Jean looks back and gives it that like look.
Yeah.
You know.
It was so great. She would retire after Benji the Hunted, and I'll talk more about the other Benji movies at the end of the episode. Jane Seymour was cast as Jackie Howard.
Oh, baby.
Oh, man, Jane Seymour. She's so beautiful. She was born Joyce Penelope Wilhelmina Frankenberg.
Okay. Good name change there.
Bit of a mouthful. She has heterochromia, making her right eye brown and her left eye green.
Freak!
Super freak. She's so ugly to me now.
Disgusting.
In 1970, Seymour appeared in her first major film role in the war drama The Only Way. Okay. She played Lillian Stein, a Jewish woman seeking shelter from Nazi persecution.
Hilarious! No, it was not a comedy.
In 1973, she gained her first major television role as Emma Callan in the successful 1970 series The Oneiden Line. It was a British thing. It was a British show. Yeah. That same year, Seymour achieved international fame in her role as Bond girl Solitaire in the James Bond film Live and Let Die.
Live and Let Die. Another Wings song, by the way.
Totally.
Jane Seymour's chasing by the Wings.
During 1980, along with starring in Oh Heavenly Dog, Seymour played the role of Constance in Peter Shaffer's stage play Amadeus, opposite Ian McKellen as Salieri and Tim Curry as Mozart. And if I had a time machine, I would go back and watch that performance.
That would have been amazing.
Oh my God, that would be so good.
Sorry.
I just want to see Ian McKellen and Tim Curry on stage together in their prime. Woo!
You're a bad man. That was my that's my Salieri.
Oh, okay.
I hate you for being such a good musician,
music writer, person. Yeah. The play premiered on Broadway in 1980, ran for 1,181 performances, and was nominated for 7 Tony Awards, of which it won 5.
Was she nominated?
No. I believe it was nominated after the 3 of them were not in the play for 1,181 performances.
Oh, okay.
So I believe it was nominated after.
All right.
Also in 1980, Seymour was given the role of young theater actress Elise McKenna in the period romance Somewhere in Time.
Is that with Chris Reeve?
Though
Nice.
the film was made with a markedly limited budget, the role enticed Seymour with a character she felt she knew.
I know her.
The effort was a decided break from her earlier work and marked the start of her friendship with co-star Christopher Reeve.
Oh, I miss him.
They were friends for a long time. That Christopher Reeve is someone that was taken from us way too early.
Yeah, man.
Horribly, yeah. Tragic.
Don't get your expensive habits, your expensive hobbies. Like, my sister was
horse riding?
hunter jumper, just like him.
Yeah.
And she took a lot of falls, man. And it's
Dangerous.
broke her arms or nose, or it's not. It's
sucks.
And he was such a vibrant.
He was so charming.
Yes.
And nice.
Handsome.
And like
ripped.
I just so want to hang out with him and just hang out and just chat with him.
Not just the tragedy of his life, but the tragedy of his wife's life and death too.
Yeah.
It just, and what a remarkable human being to go through that tragedy and use it to inspire other people and to become an ambassador for
to turn tragedy into
positive.
To turn negative into positive.
Yeah, I mean, an amazing human being all around.
Yeah, he was.
And watch Death Trap with he and Michael Caine.
Oh yes,
which is a really fun movie. Oh.
Seymour has been nominated for a Primetime Emmy 5 times, winning once for her supporting actress role in Onassis, The Richest Man in the World, starring opposite Raul Julia.
What's his first name, Onassis? Aristotle Onassis?
Aristotle, yes. Aristotle Onassis. In 1993, Seymour was cast in the TV show Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, appearing in 149 episodes.
Yeah, that's where everybody knows her from.
Yeah. My mother loved Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
Again, that was like the... Touched by an Angel, Highway to Heaven.
It was a feel-good show, but it was like set in the frontier, and it was a feel-good show. It was nice.
She was a medicine woman.
She was good. She was really good.
She healed.
She healed.
Not hurt.
People. She healed. Yeah. She most recently can be seen in Irish Wish, the Netflix movie starring Lindsay Lohan.
Okay.
Hey, breaking news: Lindsay Lohan's still making movies.
She's doing the Freaky Friday 2 with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're doing Freaky Friday 2.
Ugh. All right.
Don't forget that Jane Seymour was absolutely hilarious in Wedding Crashers.
Oh, yeah. She was great. She was great.
Call me Kitty Cat. Kitty Cat.
She is always good, and she was a breath of fresh air in this movie. She was very good.
And again, very natural, had good chemistry with the dog. Acting with a dog isn't easy.
No.
It's like acting with a puppet or something.
No.
And both she and Omar Sharif nailed it, man.
Yeah. Speaking of acting with a dog and how difficult it is, Omar Sharif was cast as Malcolm Bart. Sharif, an Egyptian actor, is best known for his role opposite Peter O'Toole in Lawrence of Arabia in 1962.
Yeah.
He was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his part losing to Ed Begley, the senior, not the junior.
I know the junior. Listen to 10 of our other shows to hear the story about me and he talking about his electric car.
Before Lawrence of Arabia, Sharif had a huge career in Egyptian cinema, appearing in a dozen movies. Sharif wasn't the first pick for Sheriff Ali. In fact, he was the fourth, casting Sharif in what is now considered one of the
most demanding supporting roles in Hollywood history.
Was both complex and risky, as he was virtually unknown at the time outside of Egypt.
Also, this was a time when either American or Italian or generic people would play ethnic parts. They didn't get Egyptian people to play Egyptian people.
However, as historian Stephen Charles Caton notes, Lean insisted on using ethnic actors when possible to make the film authentic.
Good for him.
Sharif would later use his ambiguous ethnicity in other films.
I spoke French, Greek, Italian, Spanish, and even Arabic.
As Sharif noted, his accent enabled him to
play the role of a foreigner without anyone knowing exactly where I came from.
Which he stated proved highly successful throughout his career.
Oh, yeah. That guy was a chameleon. And it doesn't help that it doesn't hurt also that he was a brutally amazing actor.
Oh, he was an amazing actor. Absolutely amazing actor.
Just engaging. And he was so watchable in this movie. Whenever he was on screen, I could not take my eyes off him.
Oh, no, he was great. He's absolutely great.
He is mesmerizing. And that's a word that you don't use for many actors. I mean, he's really got that it.
To secure the role in Lawrence of Arabia, Sharif had to sign a 7-film contract with Columbia at $50,000 a film.
Oh, they would get you.
Oh, back in those... Yeah, but still. I mean, that's a guaranteed $50,000 a movie.
Yeah.
That's like work for 3-4 years?
Yeah.
I mean,
but less than the other stars.
Okay. Well...
I'm just saying.
$50,000 back in 1963 was not a chump change.
No, that's true.
Sharif had his first Hollywood lead role in 1965 with Genghis Khan. It was during...
That wasn't the one with
No, it was not.
Duke playing
No.
Genghis Khan.
No, he played Genghis Khan.
Nice.
It was during filming of Genghis Khan that Sharif had heard an adaptation of Dr. Zhivago was being made by David Lean, who he worked with on Lawrence of Arabia, and loving the novel, lobbied Lean to play any supporting role in the movie. Lean did him one better by casting him as the lead.
Yeah?
Sharif said Bridge, the card game, was his personal passion, and at one time was ranked among the world's top 50 contract bridge players.
You ever play bridge?
Nope.
I don't think I have either.
Nope, I didn't get it. I didn't get it because of the syndicated newspaper column that Omar Sharif had. I would look at it and go, I don't understand what the hell's going on.
It's so crazy.
I would literally try to figure out how to play bridge from his column, and I could not make heads or tails of it.
Well, then F you, Omar Sharif. You're a bad communicator.
I'm sure if I knew bridge, his column would be fantastic.
Yeah.
But I had no idea what the hell was going on.
I just love that he wrote a column about bridge.
It was huge. He had a bunch of video games and stuff. Like, it was...
Bridge video games?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Huge. His name, eventually, I don't think I included any of this. Eventually, he stopped playing bridge. Like, he literally was like, I am so addicted to this, he had to stop playing.
Oh, wow.
But he's kept lending his name out to, like, video games and stuff to teach people how to play bridge.
Because it was a bridge too far?
He went a bridge too far.
Yes.
He gambled a lot.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But he was good, so, like, it wasn't like he was losing, but he
Right.
realized it was taking over his life.
Yeah, it sounds like an obsession.
It was sometime in the 90s he actually stopped.
I have to stop. It is an obsession.
Yeah. Sharif had a triple heart bypass operation in 1982 and suffered a mild heart attack in 94.
Damn.
Until his bypass, Sharif smoked 25 cigarettes a day.
All right.
Yeah.
I used to smoke 20.
2.5 packs. Yeah.
No, it's a pack and a quarter.
No, you're right, because there's 20 in a pack, right? Yeah, that's a pack and a quarter. That's not bad. That's not bad. Come on, Omar Sharif, what's your problem?
Well, those were probably unfiltered cigarettes.
Probably. He quit smoking after the operation. In May 2015, it was reported that Sharif was suffering from Alzheimer's disease.
No.
His son, Tarek Sharif, who portrayed his father's character as a child in Dr. Zhivago, said that his father was becoming confused when remembering some of the biggest films of his career. He literally couldn't remember where they were filmed, like Dr. Zhivago and Lawrence of Arabia. Like, he just couldn't remember.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah, well, you know. On July 10th, 2015, Sharif died after suffering a heart attack at a hospital in Cairo.
How old was he?
He was, I believe, in his 70s.
That's it?
Yeah, maybe in his 80s. Robert Morley was cast as Bernie.
Bernie.
I believe Bernie was the very large guy who ate a lot. It was her.
Yes.
Her like book rep. No, agent, I guess.
I think the agent or the guy.
He was something to do with the book that Jane
Right.
Seymour was writing. Yeah. He was very large and ate a lot, and he's like the stereotypical like.
He was pretty handsome back in the day before he got that giant double chin and looked like a Star Wars character. He looked like he was on Naboo underwater.
He did.
Woosah, woosah, boodah.
He's a British actor, made his stage debut in 1928. Morley is most well known for appearing in Around the World in 80 Days in 1956 and Those Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines in 1965.
Oh, I love both those movies. Rex Harrison was in Around the World in 80 Days, right?
Yeah, I believe that was Rex Harrison.
And then the Marvelous Men in the Flying Machines is a great comedy. It's just really fun. It's like one of those
It's just a big, weird ensemble thing where everyone's just having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love those type of movies.
Yeah, me
like
too.
It's a mad.
The Great Waldo Pepper.
Also, in 1965, Morley made an appearance in Genghis Khan, the Omar Sharif movie. Unfortunately, he played the Emperor of China.
Yeah, it's funny.
If you need to, look up a picture of Robert Morley. Does not look Chinese at all.
No, it's funny. A friend of ours, I was talking about our Murder by Death show, and I showed, in Young Gentleman, and I showed him the trailer, and as soon as Peter Sellers comes on with the big teeth and, number one son, we were both just like, looked at each other like, yeah, and then he's like, I love Peter Sellers, and he sees, he's like, oh boy.
Morley gained critical acclaim for his role in Who is Killing the Great Chefs of Europe in 1978, directed by Ted Kotcheff, who had gone on to direct First Blood.
The Killing of the Great Chefs?
Yeah.
That's a really fun movie.
Yeah. In 1979, he appeared in the large ensemble film Scavenger Hunt alongside
Richard Benjamin, James Coco, Scatman Crothers, Ruth Gordon, Cloris Leachman, Cleavon Little, Roddy McDowall, Richard Mulligan, Tony Randall, Dirk Benedict, Willie Ames, Stephanie Faraci, Stephen Furst, Richard Mazur, with an early career appearance from Arnold Schwarzenegger and cameos from Meatloaf and Vincent Price. I remember this movie. It had that.
Yeah.
But they did this kind of like 70s wonky version of it.
Oh, really?
And I was obsessed with the song from
Wow.
Scavenger Hunt. It was a pretty much a Mad ripoff.
Yeah.
But it was a fun movie, pretty stupid,
Yeah.
but fun. And I still, to this day, I would take my shoebox tape recorder, you know, with the thing. And when that commercial would come on, I would tape it because I was so obsessed with the song. It was crazy. It's such a vivid memory for me.
At some point, we'll have to do a month of like these big ensemble, like wild movies. Morley died in Reading, England, from a stroke, aged 84 on June 3rd, 1992.
Oh.
He had a good run. Alan Suze was cast as Freddy.
Hi, Benjamin.
Suze is best known for his numerous roles in the sketch comedy show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, running from 1968 to 1973.
That was a juggernaut. That was like the pre-SNL.
Huge, yeah.
It was the first counterculture comedy show.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Smothers Brothers was because and they
Smothers
got fired for it.
Yes.
But this was,
Rowan and Martin would toe the line, but not quite go where the Smothers Brothers would.
Their catchphrase was "Sock it to me," and they had this like the stage almost like a advent calendar where doors would open and people would pop up and say stupid one-liners. And famously, Richard Nixon got on there, "Sock it to me."
Yeah,
it was like, "You're not funny. We hate you."
You're not funny. Outside of Laugh-In, he appeared in the classic Twilight Zone episode The Masks in a non-comedic role. I don't know if you remember that episode where it looks like they're all wearing masks and they take them off and that's just their faces. Yeah, he was in that. He also had supporting roles in the films Move Over, Darling in 1963 and The Americanization of Emily in 1964.
Yes.
During the 1970s, Suze appeared as a celebrity guest on some popular game shows of the era, including
The Movie Game, Celebrity Sweepstakes, The Crosswits, and Liars Club.
Suze died on December 1st, 2011 at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, where he was taken after suffering an apparent heart attack while watching television with his beloved dog, Doris.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. He reminded me a lot of Paul Lynde.
Yes.
Very much that same kind of typical...
I had that kind of talk to him. But that's what I call the 70s gay voice.
Yes.
The non-gay gay. But this guy was actually playing a gay character.
Yes.
A little ham-fisted, but also a little progressive.
Yeah. It was like, hey, all right. I just love the fact that Chevy Chase was like, oh, you saved me. And it's like, all right.
Yeah.
Like, it's not big. Okay, you're gay, whatever.
And he's just like, what are you doing with your hand? It's just reaching for the stick shift. That's not the shift.
When he first came on, my first thought, I turned to Jim and I was like, he sounds like he could be a gayer Charles Grodin.
He did. He had a lot of...
The way his intonation of the way he said things, it was very Charles Grodin-y.
And he had a little Mini Cooper.
Oh, my God. There was the whole thing with that whole opening was so funny.
With the umbrella.
It was so funny.
Yes.
John Stride was cast as Alistair Beckett.
Oh, yeah.
Stride was a stalwart on British television dramas. He made an appearance in Macbeth in 1971, directed by Roman Polanski. In 1975, he appeared in Brannigan, the John Wayne action thriller.
Oh, I love that movie. That is John Wayne playing a cop who works with Scotland Yard to, I think it's like a drug or smuggling or something.
Yeah.
But I think that's the one where he has like the Uzi pistol or something that like.
Oh, yeah.
When I had my old gun fetish.
I like his non-Western roles.
Exactly.
More. Yeah.
It's interesting. I love,
his Westerns are great.
Yes, but it was always fun to see him doing something modern.
Yes.
Especially like playing a cop. Brannigan is one of the best.
Brannigan
is one of the best examples of that.
The following year, John Stride played the psychiatrist in The Omen, the movie that convinced Jim he was Satan.
Well, no, that I was the son of Satan.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yes. The Antichrist.
Stride grew notoriously hard to work with. While playing one of the main parts in the BBC's adaptation of Kingsley Amis's novel The Old Devils in 1992, BBC producer Adrian Morby wrote,
John Stride actually played the lead in Old Devils, the character of Alan Weaver. The part fitted him perfectly. He was a fine actor, although self-destructively volatile. When I proposed to Penguin Books that the tie-in paperback was reissued with the Old Devils themselves on the front cover and John on the back, because Alan was an interloper and catalyst in their world, he rang me up late at night and threatened to kill me. Up until that point, John was making the life of the production manager hell. Then he turned his attention to me. and was unremittedly unpleasant on set. It was almost as if he needed someone to hate in order to generate the energy that infused his acting. I'm pleased to say that he never attempted to actually carry out that threat, and I remain impressed by his skills as an actor. He was vital to the success of this miniseries. It did strike me, however, that his pyrotechnic volatility might be why he only worked once with each of the producers who admired him.
This falls back into the Chevy Chase problem of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
Because inevitably in Hollywood and in movie making worldwide, you piss off enough people, you stop working.
And he wasn't good enough to be that.
No.
And he wasn't famous enough to be that.
I don't know what his issue was.
Alcohol.
Probably.
I mean, look, it's usually substances with that type of
He might have
behavior.
just been an asshole, too.
Could be.
Possible. He didn't work much after this and passed away on April 20th, 2018 at the age of 81.
He was all alone, and everybody said, you're a jerk, and nobody get to his
He didn't
funeral.
work for almost 30 years.
Well, there has to be something wrong with somebody when you're given your dream and you're able to do the easiest job in the world and get super overpaid for doing make-em-ups. And for you to sabotage yourself, you got some serious issues going on.
Issues. A lot of issues.
A lot of issues.
Donnelly Rhodes was cast as Montanero, the very odd sculptor.
Yes, with the most ambiguous accent.
It's so weird. I assumed Montanero that he was Italian, but that could be Spanish?
Cyprus? Maybe he's from
Cyprus?
Cyprus.
I don't know. Rhodes is a Canadian actor. He's probably best known to American audiences as the hapless escaped convict Dutch Leitner on the soap opera spoof Soap.
Oh, God, I love Soap so much.
I really like Donnelly Rhodes. I like him because of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was fantastic in that. But, every time I see him, he's one of those people that, I just want to watch him.
Well, Dutch was such a likable character because he was kind of a dope, but Rhodes was just like this sweet guy that was in love with one of Mulligan's daughters, and they kind of snuck him in and snuck him. You know, it was
nice.
that whole soap opera thing.
Yeah.
But he was very likable, very dopey. He was a very solid character actor.
Cool.
Not his best work in Oh Heavenly Dog.
It's weird. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
He played the main card player Macon, who threatens the Sundance Kid in the opening scene of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Yeah, oh God, I love that movie.
He would also appear in the dog movie Snow Dogs in 2002 and Marley and Me, the Puppy Years in 2011.
He loves them dog movies.
Yeah, and so his big thing that I know him from was as Doc Cottle on Battlestar Galactica from 2004 to 2009.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I knew him from. Rhodes died of cancer at the Bailey House Hospice in Maple Ridge, British Columbia at the age of 80 in 2018.
I hate when people die in homes.
Yeah.
Or hospice. It's just...
Yeah, it sucks. Barbara Lee Hunt is Margaret. She was the Chapelwaite, I think it was. The Browning in Chapelwaite.
I thought she was his...
maybe not. That's what, yeah. The assistant.
Margaret, the assistant.
Yeah. But it was like Chapelwaite or something, because she says I don't remember what the second name was, but she was like, he always said that it sounded better if it was two names, like the Browning whatever. She's like, I'm Mr. Chapelwaite or whatever.
Yeah. She was the partner.
Yeah.
She was very good. Very beautiful young lady in the beginning of her career.
Oh,
I mean, still beautiful in the thing, but...
Yeah. Her most famous movie role is in Alfred Hitchcock's penultimate film Frenzy in 1972 as a woman raped and strangled by a serial killer that included the first graphically violent scene featuring visible nudity of Hitchcock's career.
I loved it. It's about time.
Eliminating Psycho, which you actually do see Janet Leigh's breasts.
Just for a second.
Yeah, it's out of focus, but...
I would eat an entire suckling pig for lunch and slice it down with 2 quarts of gin.
She appeared as the vice principal in 2000 film Billy Elliot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Her final role was in Vanity Fair in 2014, starring Reese Witherspoon, trying to be British.
No.
She's happily enjoying her retirement at the age of 88.
Oh, thank God. Because I
She's
thought
alive.
you say there was...
No, she just
good.
retired.
Okay.
She said, you know what, I'm good, and stopped. She's out there hanging out, being alive.
Although it just seems like every time we do these people that were like, oh, thank God they're alive, they die like the week after we do the show.
I know.
I think we've cursed these poor old people.
Richard Vernon was cast as Quimby Charles. I don't even remember who that is.
Quimby Charles, he was the guy that was accused of the murder. He was falsely accused.
Oh, the falsely accused
Yes.
guy. Okay.
Yeah,
the guy in prison. Okay.
Yes.
Vernon
The
appeared,
innocent man.
Yes. Vernon appeared in dozens of British television shows. He is perhaps most well known for originating the character of Slarty Bartfast in A Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy for BBC Radio and TV.
Yes.
Slarty Bartfast. He appeared as Professor Hugo Fassbender in The Pink Panther Strikes Again in 1976.
Yes.
His final film role was as an aged professor in the 1996 film Loch Ness, starring Ted Danson and Jolie Richardson.
Such a weird movie.
It's a very weird movie.
If you look at a picture of Richard Vernon, his picture could be next to the dictionary definition of British actor.
Yes,
he is like the consummate.
100%, yeah.
He's got the mustache, the white hair, the very, very British face.
He died of complications from Parkinson's disease on December 4th, 1997, at the age of 72.
Oh, man, too young.
Susan Kellerman as the German clerk.
She was the one in heaven.
Yes.
That was totally hot for.
So wanted him so bad.
For Benjamin. Yeah.
It was that one turn. All of a sudden, it was just like, whoa, lady.
She's like, you come with me, and she was gonna have him.
She was gonna make love to him.
Make sweet heavenly love to him.
Heavenly love.
Although I think it was more purgatory than heaven that we were. Because everybody what was funny to me is everybody seemed annoyed that was working there, and my thought was they have to work there. Kind of like Beetlejuice,
it's being forced.
It's like their purgatory or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they're just so sick of being there and doing it.
Same thing over and over, yeah.
It was a fun representation.
It was
of heaven,
interesting, Kellerman made her feature film debut in Where the Buffalo Roam in 1980, the Bill Murray passion project about Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah, not a good movie, but really interesting to see he and Peter Boyle.
Yeah.
Peter Boyle plays the attorney. It's definitely worth seeing because of the performances, but it's if you really want to see a good Hunter S. Thompson adaptation, see Fear and Loathing.
Yeah. She made appearances as a supporting actor in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, The Secret of My Success, Beetlejuice, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Death Becomes Her, and Heart and Souls.
Nice. I totally remember her in Heart and Souls.
Oh, yeah. Well, I believe...
She was one of the ghosts, I think.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She also appeared in 3 episodes of Taxi as Greta Gravas, mother of the character Latka.
Oh, that was fun. Thank you very much.
Susan Kellerman's final film was in 2016, and she has since retired from acting. She's still alive.
Okay, good. Maybe she and Barbara Lee Hunt could go grab lunch or something.
Hang out and be like, hey, remember that movie we were in?
Maybe we can grab lunch with them.
That we shared no signs? Yeah, hey.
Remember Heavenly Dog? They both die from embarrassment.
Lorenzo Music is Carlton.
Yeah, Lorenzo Music. Everybody knew his voice.
Oh, yes. Music began his career in the 1960s with his wife Henrietta, forming the comedy duo Gerald and His Hen.
Okay.
Which is clever.
But a little bit weird.
A little weird. He then became a writer and a regular performer on the controversial CBS variety show The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour.
One of the most beautifully subversive television shows. The first, really.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Tommy Smothers was just... Both those guys were brilliant. Steve Martin got his start as a writer and performer on that show.
Music would win an Emmy Award for his writing on the show. In the 1970s, Music co-created the sitcom The Bob Newhart Show with David Davis and composed its theme music with his wife.
Yeah.
The Bob Newhart Show would run for 142 episodes over 6 seasons.
Oh, Bob.
Oh, shout out to Bob.
Oh, and he just passed,
he
man.
had a good run.
94.
Really 94, he had a good run.
It still broke my heart.
Genius, absolute genius.
One of the first records that I found in my dad's collection, my dad was a radio guy, and he had a bunch of comedy albums that I discovered about when I was like 6 or 7, and his was one of the first, and I was just mesmerized by his cadence and by his rhythm.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just, even though I wasn't necessarily getting the jokes.
Right.
He was just hilarious to me, and I would listen to that record over and over, and I'd memorize parts of it. It was really funny.
He also wrote episodes for the Mayor Tyler Moore Show in Rhoda and got a major voiceover role for playing the unseen but often heard Carlton the Doorman in Rhoda.
Oh, yeah. Carlton the Doorman. Everybody wanted to know what he looked like. That was like the biggest thing. Who is Carlton? What does Carlton look like? It was one of the biggest running things of that show.
That's an ongoing trope now in sitcoms, like in Home Improvement with the neighbor guy. Music also co-produced and co-wrote a 1980 animated special titled Carlton Your Doorman, which won an Emmy Award.
I remember that.
It was a pilot episode for an offshoot show, but CBS did not pick it up as a series.
No, there wasn't a lot of legs on that one.
Yeah, no. Music gained fame in the 1980s for voicing Jim Davis's comic strip character Garfield in 12 animated specials and later an animated series.
I hate Mondays, but I really like lasagna. Oh, Odie, why you gotta be so slobbery? Normal, you're too cute. I think I'm gonna get you.
Music frequently volunteered his time on a suicide hotline. Music recalled that sometimes a caller would change his tone.
I'm bankrupt. My wife ran off with another man. Hey, you sound just like that cat on TV. You mean Garfield? Well, that's because I am.
Music also voiced characters for the animated series
Pac-Man, Adventures of the Gummy Bears, Floppy Dogs, The Real Ghostbusters, Pound Puppies, Tailspin, and Darkwing Dog. Yeah, he was Bill Murray's character on The Real Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Venkman,
yeah.
Yes, Venkman.
Yeah. After Garfield and Friends ended in 1994, Music retired from cartoon voice acting. He died from complications related to lung and bone cancer on August 4th, 2001 at the age of 64.
That is awful.
Yeah.
That's just so sad. He was such a unique voice.
Yeah.
One of those voices that, instantly recognizable.
Yes.
And just one of the most, for the time in the 70s, especially during Rhoda, one of the most popular voice actors.
Yeah. So the film was shot in London, Paris, and Montreal. Because of England's quarantine laws, which required dogs to be in quarantine for 6 months, the scenes with Benji were shot in Montreal's Old City.
Again, I don't understand why it was in England. I mean, I
don't get why it was set in England either. It had to have been like tax breaks or cheaper production. I mean, it's the only thing I can figure.
It's a simpler. If it was in the States and it was like some senator that was being framed, it would have been a lot more complicated and bigger. It just, for some reason, London just seems kind of small and quaint. Maybe it was just easier to contain.
Maybe it's because of the plot and the way that they select prime ministers and things maybe it was easier to justify that.
I think Joe Camp really liked to shoot outside of the United States.
Yeah. I mean, it's very possible.
Who knows? It's just weird.
Chase says after he left camp,
shot the rest of the scenes with the dog and changed all the lines. I had to come back, go onto the looping stage, and loop completely different dialogue that I had read in the script. It was very infuriating. I was so upset that to this day, I have never actually seen this movie.
Yeah. He rags on this movie every chance he can.
I get it. Look, you sign on to one thing, it becomes something else. Yeah. It's out of your control. It's a flop. You don't have the control to save it and it's so... I understand. It was kind of a bait and switch for him.
Yeah.
It's
really disappointing. And this is what you were talking about earlier, that I think that this could have been a potentially much better movie.
Sure.
Given the original dialogue that the dog had.
Yes.
And there was long periods where there was no dialogue for the dog.
Well, they kind of had to, too, because it would have been relentless if he narrated every part.
Yes.
But there wasn't enough jokes. It was just mostly him, like...
just talking about, I'm doing stuff.
Hey, I'm walking around here. I'm going to look for this clue.
What am I going to find? What does this have to do?
Oh, there's a big dog chasing after me.
Yeah. So outtakes and behind-the-scenes footage from this film were used in making the short feature Benji at Work, released in 1980, a 30-minute documentary about the career of Ben Jean as a dog actor.
Nice. I'm pretty sure I saw this.
The short would win a Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Children's Program.
Nice.
The movie was marketed as the quote-unquote first adult Benji movie.
It was the first time Benji did full frontal nudity.
Yeah. First time
Little Red Rocket came out. But it was a prosthetic because it was Ben Jean.
Because Ben Jean is
it wasn't a real Red Rocket. They just took a piece of lipstick and glued it to her fur. I didn't do it. I wasn't the production manager.
The movie had a budget of around $6 million and made just over $6 million at the box office.
It broke even.
Yeah, in his one-star review, critic Roger Ebert stated it was not nearly as funny as the Saturday Night Live ads it could have inspired, calling it a
total miscalculation from beginning to end.
Janet Maslin called it a film that
shows few signs of life and many signs of depressing modernism.
I don't know.
Look, Maslin, it's a dog movie.
What
is this depressing modernism? Just because... Look, when anybody tries to do something out of their wheelhouse or out of their comfort zone, and it's immediately people want it to fail because they want to keep people in a box. They want Benji to be Benji. And, I think a lot of people didn't want to see an adult Benji, and quite quaint calling this an adult movie.
Yeah.
It's more of a tween movie, I would say. I don't know. I mean,
It's listed on Benji.com. One of the fun facts about Benji is that Benji is the only actor to appear in a bathtub with Jane Seymour.
yes.
So it's very adult, Jim.
Yeah, you went to the restroom during that scene, and I had to rewind it because it was...
right, because I went to the bathroom. You had to rewind it.
It was so cringe. It was like the Ben Affleck cookie.
Oh, the animal crackers?
Or the Howard T. Duck.
Oh God. With Leah Thompson.
Seduction scene.
Yeah.
But because of the look that Jane Seymour gives him is super flirty.
It's weird.
And
It's
also
weird.
the dog's giving Jane a little
flirty
bit.
action.
Yeah, there was some chemistry there. Okay. Is that under the...
You talked about lipstick
is that
as
under
a
the
red
bubbles?
rocket, so I don't even want to hear it. Joe Camp would produce Benji, Zax, and the Alien Prince, a Saturday morning TV show that ran for 13 episodes in the fall of 1983.
We watched a few of those.
Yeah, they're available on YouTube. Super weird.
One of the weirdest things you'll ever see.
Super weird.
Definitely watch it, especially if you're a Benji fan. Check it out because
so weird.
None of it makes sense.
I don't understand what he was going for. I will give Joe Camp this. He's got an imagination to gangbusters. Like, it's crazy.
Sure, but not everything that comes out of that brain needs to be on screen.
Correct. Benji the Hunted was released in 1987 and made over $22 million at the box office. This was also written and directed by Joe Camp.
Really impressive.
It was
really
great. It's a really good movie. Camp would make his fifth Benji movie, Benji Off the Leash, in 2004. Camp would write and direct. Benji was played by Moochie. The movie did not do well at the box office.
Moochie, yeah, because Moochie was a problem. Moochie had an attitude.
Moochie had a cocaine problem.
Yeah, he had a distemper medicine problem.
Yeah. He would just run around all the time going, I'm Moochie! I'm Moochie!
I'm Moochie, damn it!
Yeah.
And he just bite people.
After the disappointment of this movie, Joe Camp turned to a new love, horses.
I hate dogs now. No, I like horses.
He would write a bunch of books about horses during this time of his life. There was a reboot called Benji, released on Netflix in 2018.
I remember that.
It was directed by Brandon Camp, Joe Camp's son, with them collaborating on writing the script together. Benji was played by Cooper, another dog.
Thanks.
Unrelated.
They didn't get a cat this time?
No. Joe Camp died on March 20th, 2024, just a few months ago after battling a long illness.
That is sad. He was a really, really remarkable dude.
Yeah, he was. In fact, a thing about Omar Sharif that I did not include that I meant to is that Omar Sharif was so intense during this movie that the dog refused to act with him.
Wow.
Benji was scared of him.
Wow.
So, like, all those scenes, like, where the dog is cowering, she's really cowering because she's so freaked out by Omar Sharif. They had to actually, for the close-up scenes where he was holding her and she's snapping around, that was actually Joe Camp with Omar Sharif's coat on because she would not be picked up by Omar Sharif. Wow. Omar Sharif loves animals and was heartbroken that he thought the dog hated him.
Aww.
So after shooting was over, he got to know the dog and the dog loved him.
Well, what I heard, too, is that Benji was famously a method actor, and she would stay in character for the entire film. So, you know, you wouldn't really get to know Benji until the rap party. Because she was Benji.
She made a really good martini.
She made a really good martini, although she put a milk bone in it instead of a olive, and it got it a little grainy.
Yeah.
But still.
So that's all I got for this movie. I liked this movie way more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, same.
I thought it was going to be kind of boring, and it's a little slow. I really wish there was more of the Chevy Chase stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I liked it when Higgins, the guardian angel guy, like, comes down and he becomes human again, and they're able to talk. It's like, oh, okay, like that's fun. I wish there was a little more of that, but it's a good movie. It's fun.
It's fun. Also, just quickly, not only does Paul McCartney and Wings do the opening song, which is basically a variation of that song is the music. It's
like, well, the guy who did the music, his name was like Yuli Box or something. Yeah. And he essentially just took his cue from that movie.
But there's also 2 Elton John songs that are on the soundtrack.
And one by Pantera.
Dog Star. Yeah, look, it's also really weird that I don't understand the whole heaven thing because, so, Jane Seymour, spoiler alert.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
We're going to spoil some of
You've gone this far into it. There's a couple of other people that come back.
Yes. The inexplicably,
Freddy
Freddy comes back as a cat. to briefly help Chevy. We don't really...
Literally to explain the plot, essentially.
Yeah, I was in the car, and then a big trash truck came and smashed me. And then he's basically...
Smashed him up the alley.
Yeah, up the alley, if you know what I mean.
No, that would be Paul Lynn's interpretations.
They were so similar. But, yeah, kind of pointless. But then, so, big spoiler alert, Jane Seymour gets stabbed. And... she comes back, because the whole thing is Chevy Chase has to leave at a certain time, or he'll be stuck as the dog.
Yes.
Because...
God apparently is like, you got a time limit there, buddy.
I do make the rules, but I won't break them. And so he decides to selflessly stay as the dog so he can...
He wants to solve this murder.
Yes, he wants to get the innocent man out of prison.
He wants to close this case.
Do the right thing.
Yeah.
So he is stuck as the dog, and then... Jane Seymour conveniently gets stabbed.
Conveniently.
Gets murdered. And I think she takes...
No, she gets shot.
She gets shot. She takes the bullet for
the
Benji,
dog.
Right?
Yes, the Benji's about to get shot because Omar Sharif goes insane because he cannot figure out how the detective he murdered is inside this dog.
I was inside of the dog. The dog has been found.
It was that whole scene was great. He broke down so hard, and then in the middle of a restaurant, pulls a gun out to shoot a dog.
Yes.
And Jane Seymour selflessly jumps in front of the bullet.
Yep. Takes it. And then comes back as a cat.
Yeah.
Why couldn't she come back as a little dog?
Yeah, I know.
You know, so they can have little... Look, I'm progressive. I'm cool with interspecies relationships.
I'm not that progressive.
If they want to cat dog it, that's cute, but...
It did really not make any sense that it should have been... Because I will say, man, both the times the cats that were with Benji, the like rubbing, the head rubbing that they do on it was so cute. It was so cute. And I was like, oh, those cats are so cute.
They probably just mushed a bunch of catnip onto Benji's fur.
Probably.
And then, but yeah, I mean...
But that was definitely a misstep. Should have been a dog.
Yes. But it's an adult Benji, so it's got to be edgy. But here's the thing. So this movie is just quaint.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a sweet... time capsule of the early 80s and just how weird Britain is. It's just old Britain.
Oh yeah,
with the hats.
It was a weird transitory time in 1980.
Yes.
Like it was weird. But you're right. I mean, it was definitely like it was weird because everything still looked kind of old,
and I think that's
still modern.
Kind of why it worked being in London, and I don't think it would have worked as well being in the United States.
Yeah,
because London still had that kind of fairy tale feel to it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And it's just a sweet, quaint little movie. Chevy Chase is really good in it, especially in his, Chevy Chase parts.
Yeah.
He's kind of phoning it in on the voiceover, but he tries a bit.
There's times where you can see where he likes the lines and he actually acts the lines rather than just reciting them.
It's probably the ones from the first recording,
or,
and not the
stuff
second
that stuff that I don't think he can help himself. Where it's like, oh, like I can, do this.
Yeah,
but I also get the impression from him the way he talked that he literally before he started recording was given the new script.
Yeah,
and was like, well, I don't even have time to like look through this and like rehearse and like make it interesting.
No, yes, I agree, and that's the thing. It's like there's always a risk with the talking animal movie.
Yeah.
It's either going to work or it's not, and
usually it doesn't.
Usually it does not because it's very jarring, and we've had Shaggy DA and we had that Tim.
The Tim Allen movie.
I think that was a remake of the Shaggy DA, wasn't it?
I think it was, yeah.
And wasn't Robert Downey Jr. in that
as
the other lawyer? We love anthropomorphizing animals.
Yeah.
And if it's something where all the animals are talking, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Babe or
right.
Charlotte's Web, but the humans can't hear.
Right.
And again, the humans can't hear here, but you just got one. I don't know. It just...
There was one moment when Benji was in his old office.
Yeah.
Or BJ, as they called him in the movie, was in his old office, and Chevy Chase says something, thinking as the dog, and then Jane Seymour responds, and I'm pretty sure that she was responding to the dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute. And then it was like just kind of glossed over, and that was it.
Yeah.
But it was weird because it was talking about like the case or like, but essentially she like answered the question, and I was like, oh, that's pretty presumptive of her. Just like,
yeah, he liked his booze.
He did.
Yeah, it was.
But it was fun. It's a fun movie. It's a weird movie. Look, you go into it without a lot of expectation.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun. It's good. Chevy Chase is good. The dog is good. You know, have a little drink, smoke a little, like, just hang out. It's a good, like, Sunday afternoon, like,
definitely
lazy movie. Yeah. Just hang out, you know, maybe take a nap during it, whatever. Like, it's fine.
Watch it with the friends so you can kind of have fun making fun of it.
Yeah, but it's definitely worth a see.
It's definitely a quaint, fun little movie. It's not as bad. Like I said, there's been so many worse movies in the past few decades that this movie kind of bumps up a little bit just from...
I will say, going for it, at least they didn't try to make the dog talk, like actually like form words, like sticking peanut butter in his mouth and or her mouth and like. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, that's the beauty of Benji. You didn't need that crap because she was such a talented actor. I mean,
yes. Well, and really, honestly, it almost didn't even really need. I get the whole like Chevy Chase coming back and like using him as voiceover, but like it was proven from the first two movies that you didn't need that.
No,
the dog could command the movie by herself.
Carry a movie with no dialogue.
Yeah.
Just being
a dog.
An awesome dog.
Awesome dog.
Well, that's our first of our dog days of summer. We'll be...
next week we're going to be covering K9 with James Belushi.
Yeah, man.
And Jerry Lee the dog.
Yep. And then we got Turner and Hooch.
Oh, I love Turner and Hooch. It's my favorite era, Tom Hanks era.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Turner and Hooch era. Yeah.
It's prime Hanks.
Yeah.
It's like Hanks firing on all Hanks cylinders. It's Hanksian.
He's so Hanksy.
And then we've got some piece of crap.
When we decided to do Dog Days of Summer again, we did not realize that there were 5 Fridays in August. So we're going to cover Top Dog,
which is our first
Chuck Norris movie.
Chuck Norris is so tough. Oh, boy.
It'll be interesting to talk about, and we'll see if we ever cover another Chuck Norris movie after that.
I'm curious to see it. I don't know if I've seen it.
It's going to be so amazing.
Yeah, you got a lot to look forward to, folks. So go pet your dog, and we'll see you all next week. Roof, roof, Benji. At least I don't have to do a lot of impersonations today. I don't even know how to do Chevy Chase. Just got to be a jerk. I can't hear myself. Because I'm such a fucking idiot. Idiot. What's the star of Community?
Joel. I almost said Joel Hodgson.
I almost did too. Joel Community.
Joel. Why can't I think of his name? Joel Community.
Floppy Dog. Is it Floppy?
I think it's Floppy Dogs.
It's not Floppy.
Not Floppy Dogs.
Floppy Dogs. Pac-Man.
Chase says after he left camp.
Is Chase English American?
Chevy Chase?
Oh, this is Chevy Chase. Jesus Christ. Okay. Jesus. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program, Holmes and Yo-Yo, already in progress.